When it comes to indie games, you might as well describe me in reaction images. I'm talking about there's no limit to the glaze. From now on, this is an every night snack for me. It was time for him to whip it out. This shit is magnificent. I nutted! Yes, these are all reaction images in my phone. In case you're wondering, my family is very concerned. The point that I'm trying to make is the indie scene is one of the best aspects of the current video game industry, becoming a space for all the greatest, most creative and passionate ideas to take flight and become fully realized. In recent years, I have dedicated multiple of my videos talking about the indies that captivated me enough to jump into a mic for 10 plus minutes. And in case you were wondering, nothing has changed. And of the many games that came out last year, and I mean many, the lineup was honestly fucking ridiculous, although you wouldn't be able to tell that because somebody else was glazing harder than I could ever hope to. You didn't hear that from me though. Back on track though, of the many games that came out last year, there was one that really interested me, that being Unbeatable. And from its premise to its presentation, I can safely say that while not perfect, Unbeatable is quite honestly the best example of an indie game that I could ever give and recommend. When thinking of a word to describe the game, the best word that comes to mind is messy. Yeah, but you weren't expecting that, huh? Time and time again, in almost every aspect of the game, from the gameplay styles to the presentation to the story, not the music though, the music made me lose count. The gameplay is pretty simple in theory. 2 lanes, 2 buttons, press them to the rhythm. Lose if you don't, pretty easy in theory. But hold up and wait a second. What did that guy finish the first? Besides, I ain't got rhythm. Yeah, he just like me for real. Just like any other game of the genre, the real challenge and fun of the game comes from your ability to bust a groove, something that my dumbass is quite horrible at if the gameplay in the background isn't proof enough. Each track will have different mechanics to keep your ass hairs up in fear, obviously. Stuff like holding notes, alternating lanes, even avoiding hazards that will damage you and break combo are some of the different types of things that you would encounter in the song. But they're not the main source of middle pattern baldness and your 50% shine in your head. You best get that shit checked out though, your bowling ball ass head is blinding me through the screen. The combination of the different mechanics plus the speed and complexity of the tracks is what really creates the fun. Makes pretzels out of my fucking hands though. If the footage looks like me playing at a professional level, it's cause I'm playing in the normal difficulty, and that's the bare minimum. I think in the rhythm game community, they might execute you for such blasphemy. On the bright side, however, the many difficulty options do also make the game very accessible for all skill levels, so you can still have fun with the game regardless of your ability to bust it down. What makes the game stand much stronger in the scene though, is the stellar presentation of the whole package. The game features this striking 2.5D animated style that remains consistently beautiful throughout the whole experience. This entire game has such an aesthetic kind of visual style, you know what I mean? It feels like the kind of visual style you would see in some music / lo-fi video kind of thing. I don't know if it would be right for me to say that it feels like a 90s anime. It feels like a 90s anime to me. My favorite parts visually are any scenes in which the sun is rising or setting, because these are the times where the lighting is going crazy and it creates such a nice contrast between the characters, and it's, oh my god, it's beautiful. Grind fiction is a term that I've seen thrown around to describe the aesthetic of this game. Think stuff like Jet Set Radio, Air Gear, World Ends With You, that kind of thing is grind fiction, and I'm inclined to agree with this descriptor. The game has this rebellious air in its presentation, most evidently in the characters, also pretty clear in the gameplay itself, stuff popping out and looking like cutouts, crazy camera angles. It all encapsulates the bite that the genre is known for and creates a great visual style that makes me happy enough to forget the black hole getting ready to consume me should I ever open my closet. And I mean, what can I say about the music, huh? With a game that quite literally has you play as a band, the game kind of needs to have baller music, something that fortunately the game does quite well. The music in this game made my walls completely white. The game features a great range of musical genres. The game is mainly gonna be rock cause, you know, we got a whole garage band as the main characters, but the many subgenres and other inspired sounds of the game create a listening experience in which I can bust in different fronts, yet they all lead to the same road of me not being the same person I was 5 minutes before that song played. Songs in the arcade can be as energetic as they can be nostalgic, melancholic, or Lena Rain. God knows how she got here, I can't complain though, the Celeste OST is incredible. When looking at the story mode as well, you'd find that the musical variety is one of the biggest strengths of the campaign, as it gives room for some of the most emotional aspects of the game, from the adrenaline-filled music of the concerts, the surreal sounds of the dreamscapes, or the stressful sounds of fighting harm officers. The game never lacks the sound for any given situation. In every way, Unbeatable on a gameplay, visual, and musical standpoint is an incredible experience that I would recommend to any music game fan. But there's another thing. The game is very much a rhythm game, but slow down there, buddy. The arcade mode is only half of the full package. There are bigger fish to fry here. One of the biggest selling points of the game, and the thing that personally got me to be interested in the game in the first place, was the story mode. Unbeatable is a game in which music is illegal and you do crime. I've seen this shit everywhere, and if you're tired of it, then that's very good, because that is legitimately the best description of the game. The story follows a band of misfits who come together to play music in a world that has long ago banned any form of music and made it a severe crime. And these motherfuckers are not playing around. I thought the authorities were bad enough in Jet Set Radio. What the fuck could I be doing as an unemployed homeless woman and a smurf to warrant this? The story of the game is something that you really only fully understand at the very fucking end of the game. The entire time I was thinking I lost my damn mind and skipped one cutscene that just made the entire story make sense. Whole time the devs were just being dickheads and just waited until the very end to emotionally wreck me. The story mode is one of the best examples of why the game shines, as despite its many flaws, it creates an experience that you can't help but fall for because of its passion at every moment of the journey. The story felt like it dragged on at times and like we were going too fast in other moments, and what that resulted in was the story mode of the rhythm game having way fewer rhythm segments and a lot more walking around weirdly empty locations until the game decides to progress the story anyways. I never really thought about it until now, but where the hell did everybody go? Bingo! Additionally, and while this isn't a problem of the game itself, I had this weird issue in which the game suddenly became Sonic Adventure 2 at times, and characters started speaking over each other, and it was really distracting every time that it happened, because all I could think about was Hedgehog saying a bunch of outrageous lines immediately afterwards. These pacing issues are constant throughout the entire game, but despite these problems, story mode is still arguably the best part of the whole package. For every moment of technical hiccups and weird pacing are incredible moments between characters that really make you care, or at the very least enjoy the presence of each character in the cast. More than being technical, the game always reaches to the player in an emotional level, to something that latches to them even when being offered other experiences. For every moment in which the game feels too slow are incredible set pieces that make all the waiting games worth it for these bursts of adrenaline. Never perfect, but always crafted with detail, love, and ambition plus passion that is almost contagious. That is what it feels like playing Unbeatable and going through its journey. Something that I often think about is something that I heard while listening to the Trash Taste podcast. I know that's nowhere near the place that you want to find profile messages in, but hold on now, just wait on it. In one of the episodes, the boys are talking about Game of Thrones final season. You know, the bad one. And Garnt mentions how he actually prefers that season to the other ones in certain regards. And you may be wondering if this guy is insane. Honestly, I'll probably be doing the same damn thing. You tell me you like the Devil May Cry anime, I will fight you. However, his explanation is what actually stuck in my noggin for like the 3 years following the episode's release, as he goes on to elaborate that despite knowing that the other seasons are actually good, there is something captivating about a show with flaws compared to a show that is purely perfect, and that is something that I think about every once in a while, especially with experiences such as Unbeatable. Art is a reflection of feelings, ideas, and everything human. As a result, it also makes sense that the art that sticks with us isn't necessarily the one that can be considered perfect, but the one that is always human, the art that has imperfections and inconsistencies all over, but is the piece to express its humanity better than any other piece. That is the closest thing that I can use to describe Unbeatable's story, message, and impact upon playing it. If you want a great example of an indie game, Unbeatable is the right place to look. An experience full of ideas, out-of-the-box thinking, and ambitions that make you unable to do anything but follow the game through to the end. Well, that's all the time that I've had for today. I'm just a random stranger man on the internet, but hey, just call me Suda.